What's up, everybody? Hammerheart Metal Reviews here once again. It is that time of the month, time to talk about my favorite albums that were released November 2024. I am doing this a few days earlier than I would normally do. Normally, I would have done this coming Monday after all the releases have come out, but I do have some plans this weekend, so I didn't think I'd get to this, so I wanted to put this out in the meantime anyways. But pretty much the albums that I wanted to hear that are coming out this weekend, I've already caught streams of. There might be a couple I'm missing, so definitely, as usual, let me know anything I've missed down below, anything you would recommend that I should go check out, and hopefully you can get some recommendations from this list as well. This month has really messed with my year-end list. There's been a few albums on here that are going to be cracking my year-end list, and it's really throwing me for a loop with trying to put this all together. But I'll get to that next month. Overall, today, we're just talking about November, and this has been a really good month. Really hard to limit to just 20 albums, but I'm going to do my best. Just going to get right into this, talk about my favorite albums that came out this past month that I think you should go check out. So, kicking off my list today, I am going with Paganizer and the new album Flesh Requiem. This is some old school death metal from Sweden. I will say here, while it's old school death metal, there's not really anything here you haven't heard before. It's not too unique. But that being said, it is just an enjoyable slab of old school death metal. It's just straightforward death metal. The man behind the band is in so many projects, but yeah, this one is just a solid death metal release. If you're just looking for some straight ahead death metal, go check this one out because it's a lot of fun. Up next, going with Tribulation and the new album Sub Rosa in Aeternum. So at this stage in their career, they've really gone a full-out gothic metal direction. This band is from Sweden, if you're unfamiliar with them. Features a couple members that used to be in Enforcer. I will say I'm not hugely into the style and direction that they have gone in their last few albums, and this one as well. But I do have to admit that this album is very infectious and catchy. While this isn't a style that I really gravitate towards, it's very well executed, and some of these songs are just stuck in my head. So yeah, it's not ranked super high on my list, but it's still a fun time. I think if you're into gothic metal at all, you will definitely enjoy this album. If you have enjoyed the last few Tribulation albums, you'll probably enjoy this one as well, even though it's pushing even further into the straightforward gothic metal category. It's still overall a well-executed album. Up next, going to go with some black metal with Ante-Inferno and their new album Death's Soliloquy. So this is some black metal from the UK. This has got some sprawling epics on the album. It's really aggressive black metal. It's really solid album from front to back. I would recommend it. If you're saying, why would you have this so low on my list? It's just because this month is absolutely stacked with black metal. So it's not a knock on this album that it's this low on my list. It's just because there's so many goddamn good black metal albums this month. But you should definitely go check this one out. Form your own opinions. It's definitely worth listening to. Up next, I'm going with Wow, I cannot even talk right now. Suidakra or Suijakra. I'm not even sure on the pronunciation. With Darka Nakrad. So this is some melodic death metal, like with some folky elements in there as well, some folky touches. I have been a fan of this band in the past. I enjoy a few of their older albums. I will say this one does not stand out as much as some of the ones in the past, or maybe it's just that my tastes have changed and I don't really gravitate towards melodic death metal that much anymore. But nonetheless, this is a very enjoyable album. I should have mentioned the band is from Germany. They've been around a long time, got a ton of albums, and they always bring in that folky flair with their melodic death metal. But yeah, all in all, it's still a very solid album. I wouldn't put it up there with their best, but it's definitely still worth listening to. Up next, I'm going with Woven Crown and the new album Celestial Lands. So this is some atmospheric black metal from the UK. Check out that album cover. You can kind of tell just from looking at that what you are in store for here. You know the type of music you're in store for. And I'm an absolute sucker for this style of atmospheric black metal. I will say this one is kind of typical for the style. It's not necessarily too unique, so it's not standing out to me too much, but it is still well done and is worth a listen, even if it's not necessarily something that's standing out amongst the crowd of other atmospheric black metal albums. But go listen to Woven Crown. Up next, I'm going with Repuked and their new album Club Squirting Blood. So this is some Swedish old school death metal, and this is more of the like slimy, grimy variety of death metal. It brings in a lot of like gang vocals in the choruses, and it's just pretty goddamn fun from front to back. Nothing to be taken too seriously, but this puts a smile on my face. It's very headbangable, and the vocals are really what sucks you in here with the different members kind of shouting out and spewing out their different sections. It's just a really solid old school death metal fun album, fun being the key word here. Up next, I'm going with Thy Catafalque, and the album title I am not even going to attempt to pronounce because I am just going to butcher it. This band's been around a long time, from Hungary, one-man band. Avant-garde metal would be the best description here. Brings in a ton of guest musicians as well. I will admit I've never been really like fully on board with this project. I've never been like a super fan or anything. I've liked some songs here and there. And it's kind of the same thing here. It's almost a little bit of a mixed bag. It's strange, it's odd, it's definitely unique, but it is a very engaging album. And if you're into any of its past albums, I'm sure you are going to enjoy this. There's definitely stuff here that I enjoy, but from front to back, I don't know as it's something that I'm going to return to a ton, just because it's a little too strange and weird for me, but I do still enjoy enough of it that I wanted to mention it. Up next, I'm going with Panzerfaust and the new album Sons of Perdition Chapter 4 to Shadow Zion. So this band is from Canada. This is very misanthropic, atmospheric black metal. It's just got this very heavy and dark atmosphere. I saw them live a few years back and they blew me away. It was a really solid live show. This is a very fitting end to this series of albums, this being the concluding chapter in their Sons of Perdition series. All 4 albums have been solid. Haven't spent enough time with this yet to say whether it's better or worse than the first 3, but it's just a solid, varied, heavy, and dark black metal album. Definitely go check out Panzerfaust. Listen to every album in the series, but go check out the new one. Up next, I'm going with Demon Bitch and their new album Master of the Games. So this is some traditional heavy metal from the USA. This album just came out. I was been waiting for the stream of this one before I could make this list, but I finally heard this album, and yeah, even this is just based on first impressions, but it's really got some killer riffs and excellent songwriting throughout. The vocals are going to be an acquired taste for sure. They're pretty out there. They're very unique and very all over the place. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say he hits all the notes that he's going for, but it adds character to the songs, and I don't think the band would be as good with a different vocalist. Like, maybe he's not the most polished singer out there, but he's bringing some uniqueness and character, and I just dig this album a lot. Like I said, it just came out. This one could even rise higher as I spend more time with it, but it's a ton of fun. Definitely go check out Demon Bitch if you have not heard them. Up next, going with Paysage d'Hiver and the new album Die Berge. This is some atmospheric ambient black metal from Switzerland, another one-man band. This album is almost 2 hours long, which is a lot to digest. He has a tendency to put out these very lengthy albums. So yes, it is a little bit too long. Some of it drags on, but it does just suck you in with its atmosphere. It entrances you. It like envelops you in winter and in frost. That's the feeling that you have here. In the middle of this album, there's like Transcendence Part 1, 2, and 3. Just those 3 tracks alone could have been a full album, and that's fucking perfection. It's great. I will say the album as a whole is a little bit long. Some sections kind of drag on and repeat, but I don't want that to sound like a negative. This is a very good atmospheric black metal album. It just is a lot to take in. But if you're a fan of the band, I'm sure you will enjoy this. Definitely go give Paysage d'Hiver a listen. Up next, going with Euriferous and the new album Blazing Inferno. So this is some Greek black metal. It brings in like a traditional heavy metal influence as well, with some of the melodics on the guitar. Just like the guitar melodies are insanely good here. Their previous album was top notch, and this is just following suit as well. I will say the debut album featured the Magus on vocals. I miss him on this album here. It's not saying that the new vocalist is terrible, but I just miss the vibe that the Magus had on the first album. It does hold this album back a little bit, in my opinion. Anyways, musically, this album's amazing, but vocally, it does leave something to be desired. I'm just nitpicking here, but this is still a very good album with great guitar work. Definitely go check it out. All right, now we're into the top 10, my 10 favorite albums from the month of November. Just going to take a sip of water here, and then we're going to get into this. All right, in 10th place, we're sticking with Greece, this time with Auriferous Flame, and a new album, The Insurrectionists, and The Caretakers. So this is a one-man band. The man behind the band is the dude from Spectral Lore. He's in a ton of projects. This album is only 3 tracks, and it's about half an hour long, so every song is pretty lengthy. It's, yeah, black metal, but it's bringing in this major, like, thrash influence this time around. Almost each album that this project has put out has kind of had a different vibe to it. This one's really bringing in way more thrash than the previous albums. But the compositions here are just really on point. All in all, this is a great fucking album. It's in 10th place, but that's just because this month is stacked. This could easily be higher. Solid album that you should go listen to. Up next in 9th, I'm going with Veil Burner and the new album, The Duality of Decapitation and a Wisdom. So this is some USA blackened death metal, but when I say that, it's very off the beaten path, avant-garde and strange. They have really committed to the concept here. It's all around the number 7. There's 7 tracks. They're each exactly 7 minutes long, which is crazy. But it doesn't really throw off the songwriting here at all. They just really committed to it, but it doesn't sound like they're dragging songs on too long or that they're cutting them off too early. Somehow it just worked out. But yeah, this album is very odd, but I do dig it a lot. Highly recommended. Definitely go check it out. Up next, we're going to switch it up completely, go with some power metal with Fellowship and their new album, The Skies Above Eternity. So this band is from the UK. Their brand of power metal is definitely not going to be for everyone. It's very flowery and poppy and upbeat, but they have a sense of humor about it. They don't take themselves too seriously, which helps the material for sure. If they were taking themselves too seriously, I don't think this material would work. But it's full of great guitar work. It's got catchy ass choruses. Like, yes, there's a pop influence there. The vocalist has a very, like, uplifting voice. It's not too grainy or harsh. It's just a very positive vibes kind of album, but it's so catchy. It's really well done. It's just going to cheer you up. I know this is not going to be for everyone, but if it's your cup of tea, you will surely get some enjoyment out of it. Definitely go listen to Fellowship. Up next in 7th, I'm going with Erde and the new album Melancholia. This is some atmospheric black metal from Italy. This album features guest vocalists on pretty much every track that has vocals on it. For example, Andy Marshall from Seor is on one track, and you got Deha on a couple tracks as well. Overall, I will say this album is pretty solid. The one thing to me, if I'm going to nitpick, that holds it back is the flow of the album. Like in the middle of the album, there's 2 instrumentals back to back. I feel like it could have been, the songs could have been placed in a different order and make it flow a little bit better, but I'm just nitpicking. The highs on this album are absolutely highs, and they kick ass. Like, there's great songs on here. I just would have a hard time putting it higher than this because of the couple little nitpicks, and that maybe some songs don't match up to the quality of others. But overall, it's still a very solid album that I think you should go listen to. Up next in 6th, I'm going with High Warden and their debut album, Astral Iron. So this is some German epic doom, or as they label themselves, slow heavy metal, which is just a great descriptor for this band. Like I said, this is their debut full length, and it's just really cool stuff. Think like the strangeness of bands like Manila Road and Cirith Ungol and like the epic era of Bathory, all kind of combined, but then really slowing it down even more. And these songs are just catchy. Astral Iron. It's just fucking awesome. You're going to be pumping your fist and singing along to this epic doom done right. This is just a great fucking album, especially for a debut. Just missed out on my top 5, but it easily could have been in there. In 6th place, Solid album. Definitely go check it out. Now we're going to get into the top 5, my 5 favorites from the month. So in 5th place, I'm going with Eldingar and their album Lysistrata. Might be mispronouncing that. This is the 3rd Greek black metal album that I'm mentioning this month, and this one is by far my favorite. So yes, the Yoth Area album was great. Yes, the Auriferous Flame album was great, but sticking with Greek black metal, this Eldingar album is my favorite of those 3 for this month. It brings in so many different flavors here. You've got folky touches, you've got acoustic moments, all amidst just solid, aggressive Greek black metal. It's got that Hellenic flavor that you love, and it just takes you on a journey. It's a lengthy album, but it's fucking great. This album is just awesome. Can't hype this one up or pump this one up enough. Definitely go check out Eldingar if you have not. Up next in 4th, I'm going with Molder and the new album Catastrophic Reconfiguration. So this is some USA old school death metal. Think like bands like Death or Autopsy and Obituary. Elements of all those bands mashed together. I will say, yes, there's not really anything original or unique about this release at all, but when it's executed this well and it's this much fun, I don't give a shit if it's not unique, because this just puts a smile on my face and makes me want to headbang, and these songs and riffs are stuck in my head. This is just goddamn excellent death metal. Easily one of my favorite old school death metal releases from this whole year, I think. But yeah, just solid stuff. Go check out Molder. Up next in 3rd, I'm going with Djevel and their new album Not Till End. Probably mispronouncing some of that as well. This is some Norwegian black metal, and when I say that, this is Norwegian black metal done the right way. This is riffs upon riffs, some of the best black metal riffs you are going to hear this year. Think like early Satyricon or Taka, things in that vein. Just Norwegian black metal done right. Yes, it's just straightforward black metal. It brings in some clean vocals here and there, but it's mostly just about the riffs and the harsh vocals, and this is an excellent black metal release. I don't really have any other descriptors to say other than this is goddamn excellent. It's just a great black metal album that I strongly suggest you should go listen to. Up next in 2nd, I'm going with Grylle with their new album Ergotants, Souffreteux, Cacochymes, Covidards. Probably mispronouncing that because I do not speak French. This band is from France. This is medieval black metal, and I will talk more about that because this is super unique. This is released on Antique Records, which is one of my favorite labels. This features the vocalist from Vehement, which is another one of my favorite black metal bands. I love pretty much everything, every project that this vocalist is involved in. So when I say this is medieval black metal, there is no guitar on this album. It does feature bass and drums, but then all the other instruments are medieval instruments, such as like lutes and mandolin, psaltery, flutes, bagpipes, hurdy-gurdy, but it's playing black metal. It's super unique, and it's a ton of fun, and it's just going to bring you back to the Middle Ages, and I absolutely love it. It's just very unique, and it makes it stand out amongst a crowd of great black metal releases because it has this uniqueness to it that no one else is really doing. No one's putting out a black metal album without electric guitar. That just doesn't even make sense, but it works here. The vocals are different and they're strange, but it's executed so well, and these songs are catchy. I love the melodies, and I love the instrumentation here with the medieval influence. Just absolutely great. It's in 2nd place. It was almost in 1st, but there is one album that knocked my socks off this month, and that, if you could guess by my shirt, in number 1 is Opeth with The Last Will and Testament. So here on album 14, we see a bit of a return to form from Opeth, bringing back their death metal roots a little bit with the guttural vocals and some death metal elements. But while I say that, it's still very heavy on the proggy nature of their later albums, bringing in the folkiness and the jazziness that have kind of peppered the last few albums. So it almost combines elements of the different eras of the band. It's just genuinely Opeth. When you hear it, there's nothing else that sounds like this. It's just Opeth. To me, it's easily their best album in a very long time. And that's not just because it's brought back the death metal vocals. I think the songwriting itself stands out a little bit more than their last few albums. It's just, hits you a little bit harder with the concept. Yes, the death metal vocals add another element that's been sadly missing from the last few albums, but this is easily one of my favorites by them in a long time. I'm not going to put this up there on a pedestal with their masterpieces from their early era, in my opinion, but nonetheless, this is still a great album, and I am fucking excited that this is the type of album Opeth is releasing this year, and it gets me excited to see what they're going to do next. I have not felt this positive about an Opeth album in a long time, and it puts a smile on my face. It's goddamn amazing. It's a great album, and you should definitely go listen to it. So anyways, those are my picks for this month. This is going to be my last video until probably for the next couple weeks, and then the next video you are going to see is going to be my albums of the year. I'm going to be splitting it into two. You'll get that about mid-December, so you can look forward to that, my top 50 albums from the whole year. I'm whittling it down. I got my list close this month. Kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop, but we're going to see where some of these end up, or if any of them crack the list. Still a couple albums coming out early December that I want to listen to before I finalize that list. But anyways, I'm rambling. Let's cut this off. It's time to end this video. Give me your picks down below. And until next time, Hammer Heart Metal Reviews. Out.